Most home buyers in Chicago think that the only way to win is to overpay, but that's not true.
What you need is a clear process and knowing what your risk tolerance will be with your offer.
Today, we are going to walk you through our step-by-step buyer playbook and how to win and be competitive without regret.
We're Andy and Liz with Reveau Residential. We're a boutique team in Chicago, and we focus on the north and northwest sides of the city. We elevate real estate experiences to support abundant lifestyles. So the buyers who are most calm in the buying process are the ones that have gone through this buying consultation with us. This is a shorter version of what we normally go through when we sit down with someone, but the ones that have this process done for them or with them have more clarity. The ones that don't feel panic.
So we're going to give you a simple roadmap that you can follow, whether you're ready to buy a home in 30 days or within the next year. Step one is getting yourself clear, because being interested in the home buying process and being ready are two very different things.
People that are interested are just saving homes and sending links to loved ones. People that are ready know their budget, know what they're looking for, and know the timeline.
We start by aligning the decision makers. If it's a couple who's buying a home, we want you to be on the exact same page, both for layout, monthly costs, cash reserves, and anything else that you need to be prepared.
We also need to go over your timeline. Do you have to sell a condo first before you buy something? Are you waiting for the school year to be over, for instance? Even if you do have a lease that's ending soon or not until later in the year, you could talk to your landlord and come up with a solution that would work for you now, maybe finding a sublet for your place, or maybe you can see about extending the lease by month to month.
Then we work on building your needs list, whether those are nice to haves, must haves, or also things that you might be able to compromise on.
All right, so step two is financing and making sure your offer is competitive. Now, if you're a cash buyer, that's great. You're going to be the most competitive because you do not have to go through the financing process, the loan approval, appraisals, and all of that. But being financed is not a deal breaker for a lot of sellers. You can still be very strong with a financed offer.
We want you to have a real pre-approval, not just an online estimate. This means that a bona fide lender has reviewed all of your assets, your debt to income, your cash reserves, and what you're comfortable paying from a monthly standpoint.
Just because you're pre-approved for a number that's a lot higher than perhaps what you're comfortable with doesn't mean you have to hit that number. You want your monthly payment to be whatever you're comfortable with, right? If you want to save for vacations or a new car, then maybe you want to keep your costs lower, and that's totally fine.
This is also where we talk about closing costs. This includes everything from cash reserves, what funds that you can access easily if you need to in the event that a competitive situation comes up. Step three is building your search the right way, because buyers will get exhausted when you're touring 20 and 30 homes. So you don't want to just see everything.
Up front, we want to narrow it down to the neighborhoods you prefer and the types of homes you're looking at. A lot of people might be very specific with their home search, and that's totally fine because that makes it easier to know what we're looking for. If your search is too broad, that might make it too hard to choose and paradox of choice.
So what we try to do is look for patterns, neighborhoods that you really feel great about being in, layouts that you like, trade-offs, top floor, natural light, storage space, outdoor living space, etc.
We also like to cast a wide net at the start of the search because you never know what you might be interested in that's outside of the parameters you originally considered. And we're also going to be thinking about resale. With our clients, we are taking great care of them because we know that eventually they'll probably need to sell the place, and we want people to come back to us, and they often do because we are taking care of our clients first. So step four is the offer strategy. What happens when you find the home you want and you want to put in an offer?
So we use a set of levers. Not every lever is right for every buyer. It all depends on your risk tolerance.
You also have to consider, how are we going to win without just throwing money at this? Because obviously you can just bid up as much as you'd like. But we are going to be focusing on the comps and what the market data is telling us that has the market done since those comps have sold.
We anchor every lever to the comps. If we can't explain the number that they're selling at or that you're willing to pay, you might be gambling.
And you're free to go above that number that we recommend. We will tell you what might need to be done to win in a multiple offer situation, and it's up to you to decide your risk tolerance. If you're willing to pay a premium for a place, if you absolutely love it, you're absolutely allowed to do that.
Remember, a home is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay.
The timeline is also underrated. Most people don't realize that the closing date is a big negotiation item. Maybe the sellers don't want to close right away, or maybe they need to close right away. It depends. Maybe they want to lease it back for a month or two while they're trying to find a place. It all depends on their situation, and your agent should be telling the seller's agent, hey, what do we need to do to make this competitive in terms of the closing date?
Whatever you can do to make make the seller's life easier, will make your offer more competitive and the safest to choose. A clean offer package with as little contingencies as possible is what is going to be the most attractive to a seller. Earnest money can be a part of this, as it's a negotiable term.
Yeah, you can have the earnest money up front that's a lot higher and makes the seller more confident. You can also make your earnest money non-refundable for any reason, which we generally do not recommend, but it is a strategy that if you back out for any reason, they can keep your earnest money. Now, most of the time, or pretty much all the time, I would say, buyers have an out to get that earnest money back, whether it's an inspection contingency, a mortgage contingency, home sale contingency.
Remember that your earnest money is part of your down payment. So generally, you will already have this amount liquid. So the higher that you are willing to show the seller that you will put down in earnest money, the more motivated you look to them.
And really, the only time you might lose your earnest money is if you just back up for cold feet, or let's say you get a job relocation and you say, hey, I'm gonna go take this job in California or wherever, you can keep my earnest money. That would make sense. The seller is taking their property off the market while you're under contract, and so the earnest money makes up for that time should you get cold feet or back out for no reason.
Earnest means in good faith.
The next lever is about inspections. You could be reckless with these inspections, and we never recommend that, but a lot of people have some questions around what's an as-is offer, can I still have an inspection, etc. Generally, we always get an inspection. People in Chicago do not waive the inspection. They always have it, and they just choose whether they're going to take it as is, meaning that we were going to have our inspection,
Whether or not you're asking for requests.
so you could say inspection with no requests or inspections with requests, taking it as is.
And we will be there to guide you through that. There is a very big difference between being competitive and being careless. The next lever we want to talk about are appraisal gaps. They're a very powerful and a very common tool that we are using now in Chicago. If you use one, you need to understand exactly what will happen if your home value comes in low. We will talk to you about that both before and after the appraisal.
Generally in Chicago, we've been having an appreciating market for 15 years now. And so appraisal gap aren't that common, but they can still happen, especially if you want to go over what the comps are saying for a place with your offer price.
Generally, the higher your down payment, the more flexibility you have to cover any appraisal gap should the value come in lower than what you pledged to pay. The next lever is escalation clauses. This is also a very common and powerful tool that we use if the seller will allow it when submitting your offer. What this does is it protects your bottom line with a starting price and allows you to escalate by a certain increment over another bona fide offer of the same price up to your maximum.
And you can have no cap on this either. It doesn't really matter as long as you're comfortable with it.
That's when things get hairy.
We generally try to use escalation riders if they're allowed because it can be a very powerful tool to keep you from overpaying and yet still winning the home.
Some sellers do not prefer escalation clauses. They want to know exactly what you are willing to pay and putting your best foot forward at the time of offer submissions. Other sellers don't mind. They are just looking for top dollar. But when you're submitting an escalation clause that's going well over your asking price, you do need to have assurances around this, i.e. the appraisal gap.
And we always tell our buyer clients, if someone else offered a certain amount, would you be okay with losing it? And that is the amount you should be offering.
How much more are you willing to pay so that you don't have any regrets with your walkaway price?
The last lever to consider when putting in an offer is the human element. This is still a transaction between two people, and keeping things cordial and clear is going to help your offer stand out amongst the rest.
It's really important to emphasize to the listing agent that what offer you're presenting is coming from a very well-oiled machine. A communicative real estate team that's representing you, a trusted attorney, a reputable lender, and all of the other partners that we work with. They want to know that we are all motivated to get this transaction to the closing table smoothly and successfully.
And we are in constant communication with the list agent when we're putting in your offer because we want them to know that you're serious, that you're well qualified, and that you really want the home. And we are going to help you stand out amongst the rest.
So if you're interested, we would be happy to map out your buyer timeline, the strategy, and the process that we go through when we're supporting our buyers in this very competitive market. This is all based on your target neighborhoods, your ideal purchase price, and a lot of other factors that we consider and what we see out there pounding the pavement day to day.
As we tell our buyers, preparation is key when you're making an offer on a home. So anything we can do upfront to help you, we're gladly able to do. Feel free to always send us a message or email us at team@reveauresidential.com, and we'll help you plan so you don't panic.
Our main goal is to help you navigate this real estate transaction successfully so that you can get where you want to be when you want to be there. The most fun and exciting part of this process is house hunting. We agree, we enjoy it with you too, but it can take a while. Once you're under contract though, that's when the ball really starts to roll and things get serious.
Yeah, step 5 is the under contract and closing phase. Right now, we get the place, we're excited, but we're not at the finish line quite yet.
The job doesn't stop there.
We have about 30 to 45 days generally from contract to close, and in that time, we are making sure that all of our ducks are in a row, reviewing any condo docs, inspection documents.
Once you're finally under contract, the process then becomes a little bit more predictable. Usually, it can take anywhere from 30 to 60 days to close on a home. Within that time frame, you have your home inspection, your condo review, unless it's a single family home. You have all of the title documents, the attorney review. If you're using a mortgage, we have your mortgage contingency and appraisal. There's a lot of steps to take before we actually get to the finish line.
Just getting under contract is really the first step of the whole process. There's a lot that could go wrong, and we are here to guide you. I always tell my clients that I may not even find you the home, and that is not the most important part of what we do. The most important part is guiding you through this next part to make sure that you're not getting yourself into a sticky situation or something that could be financially disastrous down the road.
I always like to have my expectations managed, so that is our number one goal, is to do that for you so that you know exactly what to expect step by step. Once we have cleared all of the contingencies on the contract, that's when everybody can take a little bit of a deep breath. From that period on, it's generally a quieter time, and that's when you can start to schedule your movers and map out your home and start packing up boxes.
Don't make any major purchases during this time either. Don't open any new credit cards, don't buy a new car. Wait until after you close so that the process doesn't get thrown off course. Don't change jobs either. We've had that happen. So once all the contingencies are clear and we have the clear to close from the lender, if we are financing a deal, then we're ready to go and close. Last step is the final walkthrough, and that's basically to ensure that the place is still, everything is in working condition. There's no major holes in the walls or broken pieces, anything along those lines.
In the event that we find something that is dissatisfactory within the final walkthrough, whether that is a burst pipe or the seller has run away with the refrigerator or there is a major gash in the hardwood floors, we have options to protect you. Our attorney is involved from start to finish, and they will make sure that we do not close on the home until both parties are satisfied. Our job is to protect you as the buyer, so even if that requires holding back proceeds from the seller's sale, we will do that to ensure that you feel good about getting to the closing table regardless of any issues at your final walkthrough.
Keep in mind the buyer has the upper hand at the end of the transaction because we still have the money. If there is something that's dissatisfactory that needs to be addressed, we can just stay and wait at the closing table if need be. But generally that doesn't happen. Most of the time, sellers and buyers are working together collaboratively because everyone wants to close at the end of the day. So if you found this helpful, again, we're Andy and Liz with Reveau Residential. We're a boutique team focused on elevating real estate experiences to support abundant lifestyles.
Whether you're thinking of buying, selling, or just planning a move, we are here to help.
Feel free to reach out to us anytime with team@reveauresidential.com or using the jot form in the description below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.